On July 4, 1776, 13 American colonies took a bold step that would change the course of history forever. The Declaration of Independence wasn't just a document written on parchment with a quill. It was a revolutionary statement, a powerful cry for freedom, equality, and the right for people to govern themselves. This single piece of paper laid the foundation for a new nation and sparked a fire that would illuminate the path for others around the globe. So why was this radical document even written? To understand that, we have to go back to the years leading up to 1776. The American colonies were growing increasingly frustrated under British rule. Imagine being told you have to pay taxes on everyday items like tea and paper, but you have absolutely no voice, no representation in the government that's imposing them. That was the reality for the colonists. Britain levied heavy taxes and imposed strict trade restrictions, all while denying the colonists a seat in Parliament. This growing resentment wasn't just quiet grumbling. It boiled over into open defiance. We've all heard of the Boston Tea Party, where colonists, disguised and defiant, dumped an entire shipment of British tea into the harbor. It was a dramatic act of protest against taxation without representation. Events like these fueled the flames of unrest across the 13 colonies. Leaders like the brilliant and eloquent Thomas Jefferson, the passionate and principled John Adams, and the wise and worldly Benjamin Franklin saw that things couldn't continue this way. They came together, determined to articulate the colony's grievances and make a clear, undeniable case for why they had the right to break away and form their own nation. The Declaration of Independence was born from this struggle, serving as both a formal complaint and a bold vision for a new kind of government. Crafting a document that would justify a revolution and inspire a new nation was no small task. The responsibility for penning the first draft fell to a young, 33-year-old Virginian named Thomas Jefferson. Known for his powerful and elegant writing, Jefferson retreated for days, carefully choosing every word to express the colony's profound desire for liberty. But he wasn't alone in this monumental effort. The draft was then presented to a committee for review, and two of its most influential members were John Adams and Benjamin Franklin. Adams, a fiery lawyer from Massachusetts, was a fierce advocate for independence and made crucial edits to strengthen the document's arguments. Franklin, the elder statesman from Pennsylvania, brought his wisdom and diplomatic experience, suggesting changes that would make the Declaration's message resonate not just in America, but across the world. This collaboration was key. Together, these three men, Jefferson the writer, Adams the editor, and Franklin the sage, honed the text, crafting phrases that would echo for centuries. They weren't just writing a breakup letter to a king. They were defining the very principles of freedom, equality, and the right of people to determine their own destiny. So what makes the Declaration so powerful? It's built on three core revolutionary ideas. First, the concept of natural rights. Jefferson wrote that all men are endowed with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This was a groundbreaking idea. It meant that these rights aren't granted by a king or a government. They are inherent to every human being. Second, the principle of government by consent. The Declaration states that governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. In other words, a government's authority comes directly from the people it governs, not from divine right or military might. The people give the government its power, and the government's job is to protect their rights. This leads to the third and most radical idea, the right to revolution. The document argues that when a government becomes destructive and repeatedly abuses its power, it is the right and even the duty of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to create a new government that will better secure their safety and happiness. These weren't just abstract philosophies. They were a direct challenge to the monarchies of Europe and a blueprint for a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. On that fateful day, July 4, 1776, the Continental Congress formally adopted the Declaration of Independence. The signing of this document was a point of no return. It was an official act of treason against the British Crown, and it transformed a series of colonial protests into a full-blown war for independence. The news of its adoption spread like wildfire, met with cheering crowds and the ringing of bells in cities like Philadelphia, but its impact didn't stop at America's shores. The Declaration's powerful message of liberty and self-governance became a source of inspiration for countless movements around the globe. The French Revolution, which erupted just over a decade later, drew heavily on its ideals of liberté, égalité, fraternité. Throughout the 19th and 20th centuries, independence movements in Latin America, Africa, and Asia looked to the American Declaration as a model for their own struggles against colonial rule. It became a universal symbol, proving that ordinary people could stand up to powerful empires and demand the right to chart their own course. Its legacy is a testament to the enduring power of its ideas, which continue to inspire people fighting for freedom and justice everywhere. More than 2 centuries later, the Declaration of Independence remains a profound symbol of courage, vision, and the timeless human quest for freedom. Its words, written in a time of great uncertainty, continue to resonate today. They serve as a constant reminder that governments are created to serve the people, not the other way around, and that the fundamental principles of liberty and equality are precious and worth defending. It challenges every generation to live up to its ideals and to continue the work of creating a more perfect union. It is more than just a historical artifact. It is a living document, a promise of freedom that we are all tasked with keeping. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this interesting and want to explore more pivotal moments in history, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support means the world and helps us create more content just like this. See you in the next video.